go. Rather die with my brothers, fits only me left alive, I'm a suffer. Bury me deep, I'm still standing above, and I'm hearing the screams from the ones that's before us. Now that we stand, we gon' fight till we conquer. The price of the victory's part of the process. Part of my energy, part of me lives in the game, and the game never stops, so I'm probably never leave.
For the first time since 2019, the shoe is at full capacity for your defending MAC football champion, Ball State Cardinals. Jared Elliott and his Western Illinois squad are in Charlietown for the 5th ever matchup between the two. This is SportsLink Game Day. I'm your host, Hudson French. Folks, let me just tell you, campus is buzzing right now on the heels of Ball State's bowl win against San Jose State. So we sent our own Dennis Collier out on the campus just to get that feel for the students. Take a look.
What's up, Ball State? I'm Dennis Collier, and today we're going to walk around campus to find out why fans are so excited about today's game.
Will Ball State repeat as MAC champion?
Yeah, you know what type of time we on this year, man.
Yes, they will. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yes, we will. Chirp, chirp, baby.
Chirp. Next question, man. You already know what's going to happen. I'm just looking for a big O season. I don't want to have any losses, and I think that can happen. You know, we got a tough schedule. Penn State, you know, I'm thinking we're going to knock all of them down, so I'm really hyped.
Yeah, we're the best.
100% sure. There's no way we're not.
Absolutely, they will.
For sure, without a doubt.
You better believe Ball State's repeating the MAC champions this year. Chirp, chirp, baby!
Chirp, chirp.
Are there any players you're looking forward to watching this year?
Yeah, Cam Gillentine.
Drew Plitt. Chirp, chirp!
Big E, Emeka, Cam, 765 gang. You know, Triton. We have a lot more people coming in showing love from 765.
Justin Hall. Chirp, chirp. What?
My cousin Donovan Marcus. He's running back. I want to see you eat up, buddy. Let's go.
Bryce Cosby is the hardest hitting safety in the league.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Drew Plitt
out
there, just balling out, throwing touchdown passes. You know.
Let's go, Drew Plitt.
I mean, being back, I'm just excited to see our players play in person. The atmosphere of being in the stands in the stadium, student section going crazy. I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to getting back and being personal.
We are now joined by SportsLink Digital Radio play-by-play man Peyton Manel. And Peyton, this is an exciting matchup for so many different reasons. They're both looking to make a statement of sorts, yeah? Very different 2020 experiences. Obviously, Ball State going undefeated after the Week 1 loss, and Western Illinois going 1-5. What do you like about this matchup?
Yeah, Hudson, you said it the best. There's a lot of things to like about these two teams that are coming out today. First of all, the atmosphere is completely different. We see the people behind us, but we look at Western Illinois. They had to forego their final 2 games of the regular season last year because of the COVID concerns, so fourth-year head coach Jared Elliott thought that was the best thing to do. On the other side, Ball State riding a 7-game win streak. Their last 2 games of the season, they beat ranked opponents. I mean, there's everything to like about that right now.
Yes. With taking that momentum, how does Western Illinois defend that? How would you characterize that in terms of maybe key players?
Yeah, absolutely. And it all starts with Michael Lawson, the senior transfer from Lamar for Western Illinois. Now, this is a guy that led the team in total tackles last year, 50 total. 40 of them were solo. Now, he's the leader of the defensive back unit. We're going to see Bryce Cross come out there. Braylon Brooks joins him. Zaire Williams. Now, this is a guy that joined the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and he was on the all-newcomer team. A 2021 team captain, but he leads a defense that gave up the most amount of points in the Missouri Valley last year, including the most total offense. Now, they cannot do that against Drew Plitt and Ball State's offense today.
No. You know, for how, kind of bad the defense ended up being for Western Illinois, the offense was strikingly good, 300 yards a game behind, Connor Sampson in that offense. What do you think would be the key for that offense?
You said it right there. Connor Sampson, there's a period after that one because of how well he has done in the FCS recently. Ranked 15th in the nation in completion percentage. He brings back 80% of his targets. I mean, he's bringing back Dennis Houston. He brings back Tony Tate. Dallas Daniels we'll see a little bit. Nathan Karstens. This is an offense that will run, but they need to find that next man up in the backfield. So they're going to rely on that passing game. The #1 passing offense in the Missouri Valley last year Connor Sampson, a 3-year starter, has a lot to lean on right now.
#1 passing in the MVFC. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, the Ball State secondary wasn't amazing on paper. They looked good on the field, but it didn't translate. About 300 yards given up passing per game. And, of course, they lost Antonio Phillips.
Absolutely.
So, you know, in terms of keys for Ball State, how do they, in turn, bring that back and win the game?
Yeah, it all starts with Drew Plitt. We got to look at the offensive side because we talk about the passing unit and how well they have done in recent years. They bring back wide receivers as well. We're going to see Johannes Tyler, Justin Hall. Jalen McGoy will play a little bit this year, but we can't forget about Ja'Shawn Jackson, the Cincinnati transfer. The team's second leading receiver comes to Ball State's unit this year, but he has a quarterback that can do it on the ground. 49 rush yards, 4 touchdowns last year. Johannes Tyler returns as a target. Drew Plitt, second team All-MAC last year, a 3-year starter, 66% completion last year. That's 23rd in the FBS.
Yeah, I love how you kind of singled out the captain of that offense. If you can name one player to be the captain of the defense, who would that be?
Brandon Martin. Easy pick there, Hudson. And Brandon Martin is a guy that's an overall fantastic player, but then you look at the leadership that he brings for this team. He's an overall leader, runs the linebacker core. And speaking of a linebacker core, they bring back Jimmy Dahl, Christian Albright, Jalen Thomas. They all come back, and this is a MAC Defensive Player of the Year. That's the first for Ball State since 1996. He's a first-teamer, 90 tackles, led the Mid-American Conference last year, 6.5 tackles for loss, a true leader. But we look back at 2019, got injured against Indiana, came back in 2020 and led the Mid-American Conference in tackles. There's not much more you can ask for Tyler Stockton and head coach Mike Newton.
Certainly the heartbeat of the defense, and in terms of key players, we had 2 quarterbacks in there. I'm wondering if you can kind of, you know, detail a little head-to-head comparison for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you line them up side by side, they're both second teamers in their conference. Now we look at Drew Plitt, 50 touchdowns last year. He ranks among top of the list for Ball State. He's 4th all-time in pass yards. He passed head coach Mike New last season. That kind of has to feel good passing your head coach, right? And 3rd all-time in passing touchdowns with 50. But a fun fact about Drew Plitt, 3 punts inside that 20-yard line last year. That's going to be interesting to see if he can do that again. And Connor Sampson on the other side, nearly 4,000 yards in his career as a quarterback at Western Illinois. What he can do against Ball State's defense tonight will really prove what he can do for the rest of the season.
I always thought that the Connor Sampson comparison within the conference, of our conference at least, was Ross Bowers out of Northern Illinois. Just, they have the weapons, they have the kind of the tangibles, but they haven't put it together yet, especially with all of this experience, excuse me. So thank you, Peyton, very much well said. Run it back is something that this team has said ever since they walked off the field against San Jose State. Run it back. We have a look inside the trailer for you right here. Take a look.
To run it back. That's the only goal we got.
Obviously, we want to get back to the MAC championship and repeat as champions. That's a reason why we all came back.
Having fans there and that whole experience is just going to be tremendous. And packing the shoes, so I'm hoping we get it packed this year.
With this team, we fought for so much, and we went through a lot. And just getting that chance, run it back 2 times, it would be awesome for this program and, for everybody, because we all want it, and we just feel like everyone doubted us and we had to come back all again.
Let's get it, baby. Nice
is SportsLink Digital Radio color commentary man, Ryan Klimchak. And Ryan, you've been around this program for quite a while, and it seems like, at least to me, that this is the most buzz around Ball State football in years.
Yeah, in the couple of years I've been here, Hudson, I don't think I've seen a bigger buzz and really electricity going into a season. Just the vibes and the feeling and the attitudes around students, these players, coaches, boosters, members of the athletic department, really everybody in this Muncie community. Everybody's so pumped and so excited for this season after the fantastic season last season. And I was thinking about something when I woke up this morning. It's really not only just about really what's ahead, but it's also about celebrating some of the accomplishments that this team was able to do a season ago, because we have full crowds, we have more people in the stands here at Schumann Stadium. It's just an electric attitude really all throughout.
How do you turn that electric attitude, that excitement, into a win on the field for Ball State?
Well, I think there's certainly an element of these players certainly wanting to turn the page from last season, even though it was a very productive season being the MAC champions, winning their first ever bowl game. They definitely want to start over and try to defend that MAC crown. And I think when looking at some of the keys for today's matchup, I think the first thing is definitely going to be trying to win the battle in the trenches for tonight. There's no question that Ball State has the height advantage and the weight advantage at the line of scrimmage, both on their offensive line and their defensive line. The offensive line returns everybody. All O-linemen played in each of the Cardinals' 8 games a season ago. With that kind of experience, that's going to be huge, especially with the way the Cardinals love running the ball. And really the second key for me is ground and pound. They really need to use a start with this good ground game that they have. It's a three-headed monster. We won't see Ty Evans tonight, unfortunately, due to an injury, but Will Jones, Donnie Marcus, and maybe even some carries for the freshman Carson Steele. I know they're expecting a lot of big things out of him, but Jones and Marcus early on in this ball game, they need to set the tone for Ball State. Ball State needs to play hard-nosed football and really dominate the line of scrimmage, because they're certainly capable of doing so.
Absolutely, and I think with that veteran offensive line and with the variety of running styles that you have, the coaching staff has really been able to open up whatever they want to do, because you think about Donnie Marcus, speed, shifty. You think of Will Jones, a little bit tough, more power. And so with that, that kind of, eases the tension off of everybody else. Drew Plitt, one, and then Justin Hall, of course, who can do it all. But I think it just opens up possibilities for this offense to be, even more deadly than they were last year.
Kevin Lynch and Mike New, the offensive coordinator, Kevin Lynch, and head coach, obviously, Mike New, do such a great job of tailoring this offense to their best skill players. Justin Hall, you mentioned, is one of those guys, a lot of pre-snap motions to draw some confusion on the defense. But you see there, point number 3 for Ball State. They need to protect the football. They really did a good job creating turnovers last season. They led the MAC with 18 turnovers, but on the offensive side of things, they need to do a good job of protecting the football. No fumbles, no interceptions, because that's really, I believe, the only way that Western Illinois even has a chance in this game, just with the physicality and experience that Ball State brings to the table. They need to protect the ball, so win the battle in trenches, grounds and pounds, and most importantly, protect the football. Don't give Western Illinois any extra opportunities to score and any extra possessions in this one.
Do you see do those kind of matchups, do you think that really just separates Ball State in the end, and you think they're going to run away with it or no?
Well, I think a lot of times when you look at matchups between an FBS opponent like Ball State and an FCS opponent like Western Illinois, you usually see really the physicality and athleticism at the end of the day win out, and that's something that Ball State is definitely going to try to do. But it all starts with that line of scrimmage in the offensive line, because I don't think they'll be as successful in the passing game, in the play-action passing game, without having a good ground game to really set the tone and get everything started.
Well said. We are about 45 minutes away from game action here. SportsLink Game Day. I'm your host, Hudson French. Don't go away.
What's in a story? From the first time we picked up a pencil, we were storytellers. Storytelling connects us as humans. It teaches us how to live by discovering how fellow human beings overcome. It initiates emotions that bind us to the world and people around us. A circular journey where the end is the beginning. Here, our story represents a path to elevate educate, and empower students and athletes. Ball State SportsLink, developing the next generation of creative storytellers.
Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership, and here's why. We stand behind every car we sell and are dedicated to helping our customers save time and money. All our pre-owned cars undergo a rigorous 182-point inspection and come with a 90-day warranty to ensure that you're getting a Victory quality vehicle. Plus, you'll get 2 years of complimentary oil changes and tire rotations. We're part of a top 15 dealership group and have an enormous selection of vehicles with access to inventory at over 45 locations. You always get more for your trade and the best possible rates with us. We have an excellent relationship with hundreds of lenders. Our exclusive Car Doc maintenance and membership program will help you save hundreds of dollars in the process of maintaining your vehicle. Lastly, our state-of-the-art body shop and certified technicians perform high-quality repairs and paintwork on most vehicle makes and models. Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership.
We are now joined by an Indiana broadcasting legend whose career has spanned over 20 years in the industry. We're talking Indiana Fever games, post-game duties for the Colts, and you kind of kept your finger on high school sports all across. 160 IHSAA championships overall. Greg Rakestraw, happy to have you here.
Thanks for the time, buddy. And again, I love what you guys do with SportsLink. The real-life experience that you and so many folks behind the camera get with this serves you guys so well once your time in Muncie is over with. So happy to spend some time with you today.
Yes, sir. And to let people know a little bit, you've had your finger pressed on Indiana sports for a long time. I keep saying that. And Indiana's mainly known for basketball, but how would you commentate on how the landscape of football is in Indiana right now?
Sure. I mean, Indiana high school football in the last 25, 30 years has changed leaps and bounds. Again, there's what the Indianapolis Colts have done to kind of bring football to the state. And I think Ball State is a great kind of test case for that in terms of, can you primarily recruit from the state of Indiana and be competitive at this level? We have seen that now in Division II, Division III, in the NAIA ranks. You can have a roster that's primarily Indiana kids and be successful. I'm not sure if Mike New and his staff have gotten to that point yet where you can just recruit Indiana kids and win, but you got to get the right type of Indiana kids, and clearly Mike and his staff have done that over the last few years.
And now you were obviously a long-time announcer, and we're finally back. I mean, just look around. I mean, right. This is college football. What was it like inside the booth, in COVID and not knowing what the next day was going to be like?
I think back to the first high school football game I did last year, which was Brownsburg and Ben Davis. And Ben Davis's stadium seats about 10,000. We had 1,000 people there, and it was just so beyond bizarre. We would have games during the high school basketball season last year where it was parents, and that was it during January. But at the same time, I just felt lucky that we were able to actually enjoy sports and be there. And as broadcasters, we could kind of provide that service for fans that could not be there in person, trying to make the game day experience as realistic as possible. So you threw out a number as far as like state championships. I've got a number that I throw out from 2020. I did 153 play-by-play events in 2020, and that was with a 4-month stretch of doing one because of the pandemic. I went from basically when the pandemic hit in early March until the middle of July, having done one event, a golf event, at the end of May. And so the fact that I was lucky enough to be able to do that many sporting events, that the sporting events still took place, I thought myself very lucky. But you are right. It is so much better now that the fans are back with us. And the example I'll give you is this. I was fortunate enough to be able to do the preseason television for the Indianapolis Colts this year. And people were so excited to be back in the fourth quarter of a preseason game. The fans at Lucas Oil Stadium helped draw 3 false start penalties against the Panthers. Oh, wow. This is the fourth quarter of a preseason game. That does not happen. So, again, it shows you the appetite that fans, too, are so thankful they can be back here and experience a setting like this on campus.
Absolutely. And you commented a little bit on the Colts. And, of course, the Colts have one Ball State alum in Denny Pinter. That's right. The Ball State's kind of growing their NFL crop a little bit. Do you think they have some type of faction growing here?
Of course, absolutely. And I mean, part of it is the respect the entire Mid-American Conference has. And obviously, we could sit here and spend the rest of this segment talking about, greats from the MAC that have gotten it done in the National Football League. But no, as Ball State continues to grow their national profile and winning the MAC championship and winning a bowl game for the first time in program history, you will continue to see recruits that can play in the National Football League. I know Blaine Bishop's going to be joining you here in a matter of moments. He is down on the ISC set right now. In fact, he and I may switch spots here in a moment or two. So there have been Ball State guys clearly that have been NFL veterans for a long time, but I think is it fair to expect that number to continue to rise? Absolutely it could.
And now you talked a little bit about ISC, and you are the vice president of ISC, and we have a little bit of a connection between you guys and SportsLink. Can you detail that any?
Absolutely. So what you guys have done with Chirp Central over the years, we have been very fortunate to air that program. And again, the job that you and your colleagues do on that is absolutely fantastic. And the work that I've known Chris Taylor probably since you were like 3 years old at this point, back when he was in the sports information office. But the job that Chris does, Alex Cartman, and obviously the students that are behind the scenes, it is a professional grade product that you and your colleagues put out every time. So I tell Chris all the time, hey, if there's content that is not heading for ESPN Plus or ESPN3, we will very happily carry that on the ISC Sports Network. So happy to have that relationship over the last couple of years, and hopefully that relationship continues to grow over the next few years. That's
amazing. Thank you very much. Those are extremely kind words, humbling words, if you will. Now, the Cardinals, of course, have a loaded running back room, much like they did a few years back. And you got the chance to see Carson Steele at Center Grove last year. I believe about 1,700 rushing yards, 31 touchdowns in a senior season, of course, Mr. Football 2020. What did you see that you liked with Carson Steele?
Well, Carson Steele is a tremendous player, and it's remarkable at Center Grove that they had, in an 8-year span, they had two guys that were kind of 4-year guys at tailback. Titus McCoy, who ended up playing at Indiana State, and then Carson Steele immediately after him. Carson was a young man that missed a lot of his junior season, or frankly, he would have made more of an assault on the Indiana high school football record books than he did. Charlie Spiegel at New Pella came right before him, preferred walk-on at Indiana University. I think has set that record where nobody's going to touch it. Carson may have had an opportunity if he basically didn't miss the entirety of his junior year. The fact that he was able to come back and play in the playoffs helped a team that had a lot of sophomores and juniors that was 4-5 in the regular season make their way to the state championship game 2 years ago. They finished as runners-up to Carmel. Last year, his Center Grove team may have been the second best team to ever play in the state of Indiana. I think Warren Central in 2006 is the only other one that I would put in front of them. But Carson was part of a group that just had, Division I commit after Division I commit. Another young man named Sam Burris, who was a starting left tackle for Center Grove this year, is 6'7" and 320, and he is bound for Ball State next year. So there's more coming from that Center Grove pipeline. But Carson Steele, from a physical standpoint and from a competition he has played standpoint, again, I can't speak to the guys in front of him in the running back room in terms of the depth chart and his opportunities, but I will tell you this, if he gets that opportunity, he'll be game ready if Mike New says, okay, Carson, here's your shot.
I think it's very realistic we could see him tonight against an FCS opponent if the defense in Ball State's offense play like we know how. Greg Rakestraw, everybody, thank you so much.
Of course.
Now, we showed you a little bit of the football intro earlier, running back, and now we want to show you a little bit behind the scenes produced by our SportsLink creatives. Take a look.
I'm enjoying the show.
We are now joined by SportsLink Digital Radio sideline man Balin Heighton. Balin, you were down on the field watching warm-ups. What did you see?
Saw a lot of this back here. A lot of energy, a lot of just a lot from our players, really. Ball State, you know, they had their sights set on Detroit last year. We're kind of seeing a little bit more of that this year with the whole run it back. That's the motto for this team this season, and they are locked in. It's similar to last year. You kind of have that feel, but now we've got the fans. Now we've got the energy. There's that little extra flavor to it.
Now we got a little bit of health as well. You know, of course, at the end of the season with the bowl game, we didn't get to see a Justin Hall that was healthy. How was he looking out there?
Right. For Justin Hall, the biggest thing, I mean, he's been healthy in his Ball State career, and he's played through it, right? I kind of compare him to T.Y. Hilton a little bit with the Colts, a guy who battles through injuries all the time. But Justin Hall continues to shatter records for not only the program, but across the NCAA. He's looking at potentially, with a catch tonight, his 44th straight catch and at least one reception, I should say, in 44 straight games played for him. And, you know, he's that bulldog for this team. He can do everything from the wide receiver position. He can run block. He can go down the field. And, I mean, Justin Hall, what's not to say for his Ball State career?
Now, elsewhere on the offense, what would your expectations be for tonight, you know, against an FCS opponent that, quite frankly, had a little bit of a shaky 2020?
Well, I know Ryan might have mentioned this, but it's just about limiting mistakes, right? You don't want to let a team like Western Illinois coming from the FCS to get any type of momentum tonight. You've got to make the little passes, you've got to make the easy runs, hang on to the football, and really keep the turnovers to a minimum, if none at all.
And I like the comment about Justin Hall, and I really like this wide receiver room. You know, you include Ja'Shawn Jackson in there, and we're starting to get some frees, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, Ja'Shawn Jackson coming over from Cincinnati. You mentioned, we were talking before this, the second wide receiver on the depth chart for Cincinnati. It's a program that's ranked in the top 10 right now, and many think should be a little bit higher. He brings that experience into an already stacked Ball State wide receiving room. You've got versatility, you've got speed, you've got size. I mean, there's so much to like with the skill position group for Ball State.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it just gives Drew Plitt such a great plethora of weapons, and one more of those weapons is Jordan Williams. And, you know, SportsLink gets the great opportunity to work closely with Ball State's athletes, and one of those guys being Jordan Williams in a POV experience produced by Madison Surfers. Take a look.
SportsLink is too good. SportsLink is way too good. Come on now. There it is.
You know what it is. We having fun with it today.
You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
Mac Champs ×2.
×2, X2. Hold on now. Hold on.
Oh.
They said the drippiest, the fitted, best fitted. Best in the nation. We the best in the world at what we do. The SportsLink. There's nobody topping this. There's no competition, dog.
This is too easy for SportsLink.
This is crazy. SportsLink. Y'all did y'all thing.
Till we're right up in the sky, yo. I got an iron will, I do not quit. I keep it moving, open doors like a locksmith. Can't stop me with a stop switch. From the block up to the cockpit, I do not quit. I got an iron
little new hairdo. No, I'm gonna get y'all. D-Block. Man, they cold, man. You know, it always starts up front, big dog. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Ooh. I gotta get that shirt. That is a nice shirt. I get SportsLink. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is amazing. Whoever's editing this video is just gonna have to get all the times I say SportsLink is great, amazing. I gotta look up some more synonyms. I'm gonna come back to y'all. I'm gonna come back to some more synonyms with amazing, great, creative, great attitudes. I just can't think enough right now. I'm bamboozled, or what's it called? I can't even think. Can't even get the right words out. I'm shocked. I'm speechless. It's crazy.
From not touching the chalk lines to never washed game socks, you know, weird superstitions kind of follow sport everywhere. Now that staple of sport kind of has already made its way into the Ball State locker room, and here's a look inside produced by Cam Surdick.
Before a game, I mean, it's not really something I have to do, but day before, I mean, I always go get coffee from Starbucks or Dunkin' with either Dylan, Cook, or somebody else on the team. But normally each week I meet with my sister too and get some coffee.
Yeah, I like to walk a lap around the field. I know it gets a little weird when you walk around on the opposing sides, their field, or their half of the field. I like to walk a lap around.
I usually go to this place called, Crowd Therapy. It's kind of like if you don't know, it's like a mist of like really, really cold air and like negative, like gets up to like negative 300 degrees Celsius at most. So I gotta do that, gets my body right. I got to watch my my motivational highlights. The guys that I like to play, that I like to watch play, I like to get pumped up by their highlights. It's crazy because these same videos I was watching since high school, and I kept it the same ever since. But there's a Vic Beasley highlight and a Jadeveon Clowney highlight that I watch before every game since high school.
My mom, she always sends me like a quote before every game. I like to, listen to music.
Listening to music.
Obviously, they listen to music. Just
I gotta listen to music. Kind of the same music, same.
Just got my set playlist. Usually, I'll make like a week before the game.
It's weird. I listen to a lot of like soundtrack music.
I really just like to listen to my music.
Artists would be Lil Baby, Lil Durk, and Lil Papa. Well, I had to put Young Boy in there too, but
Terminator Salvation. The very first song, when you first open up, that's the first song on the playlist.
And I really listen to just really try to calm the music. I try not to get fired up.
It's probably gonna be some Gunna, some Lil Baby, and probably some Thug, Young Thug. Them in my top 3 right now.
I'm a big fan of old Kanye, so there's a lot of songs from Graduation on there.
What's in a story? From the first time we picked up a pencil, we were storytellers. Storytelling connects us as humans. It teaches us how to live by discovering how fellow human beings overcome. It initiates emotions that bind us to the world and people around us. A circular journey where the end is the beginning. Here, our story represents a path to elevate, educate, and empower students and athletes. Ball State SportsLink, developing the next generation of creative storytellers.
Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership, and here's why. We stand behind every car we sell and are dedicated to helping our customers save time and money. All our pre-owned cars undergo a rigorous 182-point inspection and come with a 90-day warranty to ensure that you're getting a Victory quality vehicle. Plus, you'll get 2 years of complimentary oil changes and tire rotations. We're part of a top 15 dealership group and have an enormous selection of vehicles with access to inventory at over 45 locations. You always get more for your trade and the best possible rates with us. We have an excellent relationship with hundreds of lenders. Our exclusive Car Doc maintenance and membership program will help you save hundreds of dollars in the process of maintaining your vehicle. Lastly, our state-of-the-art body shop and certified technicians perform high-quality repairs and paint work on most vehicle makes and models. Victory Honda of Muncie. We're not just another car dealership.
Here to watch his son, the transfer from Tennessee, Chase Bishop, and his alma mater fresh off an emphatic bowl win against San Jose State as one of the hardest hitting safeties in NFL history. 4-time Pro Bowler and one half of the Blaine and Mickey radio show tandem. Blaine Bishop, everybody.
Man, what's going on, Hudson, man? Appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you for being here. Are you kidding me?
Nah, man, I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, a Ball State alumni. What is it like to be back on campus? Things have changed, I imagine.
Yeah, you know, I've been back a few times, but just to see the, you know, all the new buildings and all, you know, man, I go in the building like, oh, man, the bookstore wasn't right here. It was in a building that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So to see the growth and to see the atmosphere and what Mike New has done with the football program is so exciting. And I'm so, you know, proud, not just of Mike New and what he did last year, but I'm just proud to be a Cardinal, really, you know, chirping. I'm always talking about Ball State there down in, you know, Tennessee. And
Yes, sir.
I'm originally from Indianapolis, went to Cathedral, so, yeah, I'm always talking about Ball State. So it's very special and near and dear to me in my heart.
Now, listening to Blaine and Mickey, you keep your finger on a lot of roster transactions and everything going on for the Titans. So for your son, Chase, to transfer in, what do you think kind of went into that decision for him?
Well, it was a coaching change for him, and Ball State was at the top of the list. And I've always emphasized, you know, you want to be the big fish in a small pond, or you want to be the guy. So naturally, Ball State was at the top because of Mike New, and not just because of the school and what everything they brought for me, but that that's the type of person I wanted him to be around. And so it was a no-brainer. There was no other questions where else he was going to go. A lot of schools were reaching out to him after the coaching change, and Mike was diligent in his efforts, and he was one of the few head coaches that was the ones that contacted him. So that was important to me too as well.
Now, you deem yourself as kind of a football guy. You know, you not necessarily the biggest in terms of speed or size and speed, but you got it done. Is Mike New a guy that you would have liked to play for, you think?
Oh, yeah, no question. And we were roommates, so we were here together. And, you know, if somebody asked me who's the greatest, you know, Ball State player of all time, and I go, well, I would think that would be Mike New.
Yeah.
He was MAC Player of the Year. Now, if we want to talk about NFL and everything else, that's maybe a whole nother discussion. But, no, we were roommates at times, so we have a lot of conversation, a lot of memories, and a lot of history. And we kept in touch throughout that whole time.
Sure.
So we were very, very close.
So for you to see him in this elevated position, last year's team was so successful. What was that like?
Oh, man. As the youngsters would say, as you would say, it was lit. I was jacked up. I was pumped. I was up there texting him, you know, and all, you know, throughout the season. And he responds and everything else. So I was pretty pumped because, you know, just to see Ball State do well on that national stage and, you know, people across the country talking about Ball State. You know, when you're in the South where I'm living, you know, they'd be like, oh, where's that in Indiana, Ohio? Where? You know, like it's not a Division I program, and it always, you know, it would touch me. And so then to see them do well and then go out there and dominate in the bowl game and, you know, win the MAC is super exciting. And, you know, I'm just very proud of the job he's done. You know, now that's over, and it's kind of got to move forward and kind of run that thing back. And it's always hard to do it back to back, as it's been, I don't know, when was the last time it was done in the MAC?
96.
Oh, that was a long time. So it's tough, but they got a lot of guys back.
Yes,
so, hey, they got a shot.
So what do you think is the first step in terms of running it back?
First of all, that last year you have to, you know, as much as you want to talk about what happened last year, us in the media, we can talk about all we want to, but the players got to realize how hard it was to get to that point and how now you have to, that season's over, start a new season, got to develop new chemistry even though it's the same year. You got to see if you can duplicate and elevate this season even better than you were last year, but this time with the fans.
There you go.
With the
there
fans.
you go. That's a point we always want to hit. It's just, from your perspective, at least the media, is just like, we finally back here, you know, finally. I hear the drumline going crazy. I hear fans going crazy behind me. It's like this is something completely different. Yeah. And so I can't even put it in words how excited we are to be back here.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I'm jacked. I'm jacked for Mike New and the whole crew.
Sir.
Just to see the product and get some recognition that it deserves.
And so one last thing, what are you looking for tonight out of Ball State? Whether it be offensively or defensively?
Well, I'm always going to be a coach's coach.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm looking for discipline, fundamentally sound, don't turn the ball over. And if you do all those things, then just play with the effort and resolve that, you know, that got you there. You do that, you'll be fine. And all you want to do is you want to walk off the field and say, I gave it the best I could mentally and physically. And then that's all you can ask yourself. And hopefully you come away with a lot of wins.
Yes, sir. Folks, that is 10-year NFL veteran Blaine Bishop. Thank you so much for being here. We're a few minutes away from game time. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Who said there wasn't such thing as a storytell ending? Why Ball State? It's the question we've all been asked. Time after time, year after year. Why Ball State? Here's our answer.
Why Ball State? That's a question that has lingered in my head for a while, but I think it's just, I just could not envision myself being anywhere else or doing anything anywhere else.
When we won the MAC championship, I told him I stuck with you because you made me a promise, and he held that promise. So at the end of the day, I don't know if there's a coach that I'd rather play for than Coach New, and I tell every recruit that.
I have a lot of people ask me, like, why Ball State? And I tell them this is the reason why. All the stuff that just happened this past season.
When you think of somebody that really cares for you and is family, they want you to succeed in every single part of your life, not just in football. And I think that's what really got me to, want to join this team.
Those guys who were willing to stick through that 3-year span says a lot about them, not only as football players, but as men, as character. A message that I'll never forget that he always used to tell us is those who stay will be champions.
To be able to go win a MAC championship and win the first ever bowl game and do that for my hometown, like I said, it's the greatest decision I've ever made.
I chose to come here because I could see some success in this program.
We've turned it around and we did it. We did something that nobody thought we could.
I was willing to do whatever it took to help be a part of the change when I came in, and the rest is history.
It's one of those things I can't explain, but like if you were to write a book, I feel like it would be like this is the dream ending.
Hey, history has been made.
We showed why we belong. Now it's time to run it back.
We've tasted some success, and now we're hungry to repeat that success. We want a taste of it. We want more of it. So how do you get more of it? You go back to work.
Winning is contagious, Once you experience that taste of winning a championship and, that you have an opportunity to do it again, I think that can be very appealing.
When we succeeded in that and we did all the things that we did this past year, guys wanted to come back and do it again, and we wanted to relive that same history that we've done.
When we were granted this opportunity, it was a no-brainer to me.
They've done a really cool thing with our strength conditioning shirts. They put a target on our back because now that we've won it, we know that every other team wants to do what we just did. So they're out for us.
I just feel like give it another go. I feel like we could get it done again because we know we got the target on our back, but we know like all the stuff we did this season is not going to do nothing for us next season, so we got to restart.
I saw something here that we could turn it around. That's what we did. But going forward, what I want to do is build a dynasty. We're not going to be underdogs anymore, and we got to get comfortable with that.
So let's just go and prove them wrong too. Let's run it back.
We're going to get fitted for our championship ring. We're going to put it over here on the side, and we're going to go chase its friend.
We've been through so much. Why not us?
There's so much experience on this Ball State team, 20 returning starters and 16 super seniors, that we have one crazy stat of tonight's game. All combined, connected, the starts between this team for 2021 is 403 to start the year. That's where we're starting off, and I can't tell you how excited we are to have every single one of those members back. Folks, the vibes are incredible. We got a packed stadium. We got a packed house. Everybody is buzzed. We are just 15 minutes from game time. We are ready to go live from Schumann Stadium. This has been SportsLink Game Day. I'm your man, Hudson French, produced by Sights and Sounds. Thank you very much. Have a good day.